Hey Shark fans, it's Melinda Marsalis. Welcome to Heard It on the Shark. I'll be your show host, and Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area is your show sponsor. Heard It on the Shark is a weekly interview show that airs every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi. Then it's released as a podcast on all the major podcast platforms. You'll hear interviews with the movers and shakers in North Mississippi who are making things happen. I'll talk to entrepreneurs, leaders of business, medicine, education, and the people behind all the amazing things happening in North Mississippi. When people ask you, how did you know about that? You'll say, I heard it on the Shark. Heard It on the Shark is brought to you by the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area. We want you to get out and discover the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of the Mississippi Hills that are right in your backyard. And of course, we want you to take the Shark 102.3 FM along for the ride. Musical credit belongs to Hill Country Blues guitar legend Gary Burnside and the late great Buddy Grisham, playing Long Way Home from their album Acoustic Brothers, which was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Hey, Shark fans, it's Melinda with another episode of Heard It on the Shark. And today I have Ashley England of TVA EnergyRight. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about some ways to save money as you winterize your home to get ready for the cold weather. And she is back today to talk about some more ideas for what to do as it gets cold, because now it's November 5th as of this airing, and you know that cold has set in. So Ashley, first of all, thanks for calling back in and talking to us.
Yeah, so happy to be here again. Thanks for having us.
Can you explain to our Shark fans a little bit about EnergyRight and what you do and why you give rebates and what the purpose of TVA EnergyRight is?
Yes. So hopefully you're familiar with the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, and we're a federally owned corporation, and we were established in 1933 as part of the New Deal. And, you know, our mission since our founding was to provide electricity for customers across the 7-state region that we manage. And we also help with managing flood control and economic development and things like that. So TVA EnergyRight is an initiative of TVA, and we're really focused on promoting energy efficiency and helping people save energy in their homes and their businesses. And so we're funded entirely by TVA. And I'll just always remind folks, TVA is funded through the sale of electricity. We do not rely on taxpayer funding. And so TVA funds the TVA EnergyRight initiative because really we get this question a lot. Well, you sell energy. Why are you encouraging us to be energy efficient? So I get that question, but I think it's important to understand that when we can lower demand for energy, especially at peak times when a lot of people are using energy. So think early in the morning when you're getting ready for work or school, you know, you're using the blow dryer and you've got the microwave going and everybody turn on the coffee maker. Energy really can peak at that time. Happens a lot also after work or school. Everybody's at home preparing for dinner, got the TV on. And so this helps TVA save on operational costs and reduce our need to invest in really expensive infrastructure like a new power plant that is only needed to serve those kind of occasional peak needs. So that's why we exist. If we can get people to use less energy at those peak times, it helps TVA maintain low rates, which is super important, of course, and a more reliable and resilient grid. And it also lowers emissions. So it's just a win-win when we can get people to reduce energy waste and use their energy more wisely.
I love that. And I love the idea of a rebate because I just recently got EnergyRight windows in my home, and I got a little $15 per window rebate. And it wasn't that much money, but hey, it was great to get some money back. And it was just one extra thing to make me want to go ahead and put the money in to get those windows. And man, they really did make a difference in my house and the way it feels inside. So that rebate was great to have.
Oh, I'm so glad you had a positive experience and you got that rebate. That's exactly right. You know, we want people to winterize their homes and to get them ready for that weather. And not only is it going to help you save energy and money, which is, of course, the best, but it really helps you feel more comfortable in your home. That's why we do this. TVA we're just built to serve the people of the Valley, and this is part of doing that. And that's why we have these rebates available.
Are the rebates available to both homeowners and businesses?
Yes, that's right. So we have rebates available for homes for, all kinds of different energy systems, things like your HVAC or your water heater. We also offer rebates for things like windows and attic insulation, because those are things that are going to help weatherize your home and seal out the air. But we also offer really substantial incentives for businesses as well. So businesses can get incentives up to $3 million per year to help them lower their energy use. And so those incentives are for common systems that a business might have. That includes HVAC or things like variable speed drives, which we don't know anything about in our homes really, but large businesses understand what those are. And so, whether they need, efficient refrigeration, say for like a commercial kitchen or grocery store, things like that. So we offer all those incentives and rebates at EnergyRight.com for both businesses and consumers.
EnergyRight.com. Okay, now I'll put all of the links to everything we talk about in our show notes so you guys don't have to write it down. I'll put it in the show notes and you can just click and find all of this information. And if you are listening on the radio, you can always go to our website and find the show notes there. Now, Ashley, I do want to talk about, because it's November 5th, and we have the Red Cross come and talk on Heard It on the Shark a lot. And every time they come, we have to talk about house fires. And that is just one of those things. It comes every year, people's houses burn down because there's a lot of people who can't afford proper heating and they can't afford it. And so let's just talk about space heaters, ovens and stoves, the alternate ways that people try to heat their homes because they don't have proper heating and can't afford it. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And using space heaters, ovens, stoves to heat your home, it really can be risky. And the other thing is it's often inefficient. So space heaters can efficiently heat small spaces, but they are not designed for heating your whole house. So I'm known, and I've talked to folks at community events who say, oh, well, what we do is we turn off the HVAC and we just turn on space heaters in every room. And, we think that's probably going to help us out. But the reality is that's probably wasting energy, and they'd be better off just using their HVAC system. So unless you're in a really small space, like maybe you have just a little garage area and you're just doing some work in it and it's not heated, then go ahead and use the space heater there. But the other thing is that they're a safety concern. There is a risk of fire or carbon monoxide poisoning if your space heater is not properly vented or if it's left unattended. And I'll say for ovens and stoves, they're really not designed for heating spaces. Using them for this purpose, not only can it lead to really uneven heating and increase your energy bills, but they create fire hazards, and gas stoves produce really harmful gases when used inappropriately. So our recommendation is to always use your central heating system, an insulated space heater or heat pumps, and to just always prioritize safety and never use cooking appliances as a primary heat source.
Okay, good. Now, I also want to ask about, you guys in your notes that you sent to me talked about an integrated resource plan, and I have no idea what that is. So why don't you talk to me about that? It sounds good.
Yeah, it's kind of a fancy name, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Integrated Resource Plan, and we're federal government, so we have to make it an acronym. We call it the IRP. And really, that's the way that TVA plans for future growth and preparing for what we need to serve and how we can best serve people in our region. So we're actually one of the fastest growing regions in the nation. I don't know about you, but I see folks moving in from all over on a weekly basis. And so that means there's a lot of growth in electricity demand in our area. So our Integrated Resource Plan is a comprehensive study where we look at what are all of the needs and operational constraints and risks and choices that we could make to make sure we can meet energy needs in the coming decades. And I love this. I've heard it described. It's kind of like a compass for TVA, right? It gives us a strategic direction for how we can continue to provide power that's affordable and reliable and resilient and increasingly more clean. So through the process, we work with stakeholders to review planning information and kind of inputs and analysis so that we can understand what the best course of action is for us to meet the Valley's growing needs. And I think maybe the reason why it's most important is that we will be having a public meeting in the state of Mississippi. It'll be November 13th in Starkville. And I know that might be a pretty good drive from folks in your area, but people can review the draft integrated resource plan and our environmental impact statement that we put together alongside that at our website at tva.com/IRP. And there's also an opportunity there for the public to submit feedback and ideas of their own. So it's a public process. We invite input and feedback so that we can continue to provide that affordable, reliable, resilient, and clean power.
Okay, so people can be involved without going to Starkville to participate in person. They can go online, and again, I'll put that in the show notes, the location, and they can put in their 2 cents there.
That's right. TVA.com/IRP. We have an open comment section. You can submit your feedback and ideas, and the more input, the better.
Okay, Ashley, that's all the time we have for this one. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sounds great. Have a great day.
Okay, Shark fans, that's it for this edition of Heard It on the Shark. Tune in every Tuesday at 11 a.m. to find out what's going on with our local community leaders. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for an interview, or if you want access to this interview, go to our website, shark1023.com, and click on the podcast tab. Keep it tuned to the Shark 1023 and have a great rest of the day.
The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area was established by the United States Congress in 2009 and represents a distinctive cultural landscape shaped by the dynamic intersection of Appalachian and Delta cultures. This intersection has produced a powerful concentration of nationally significant cultural icons, including King of Rock and Roll Elvis Presley, First Lady of Country Music Tammy Wynette, blues legend Howlin Wolf, civil rights icons Ida B. Wells-Barnett and James Meredith, America's favorite playwright Tennessee Williams, and Nobel-Laureate William Faulkner. The stories of the Mississippi Hills are many and powerful, from music and literature to Native American and African American heritage to the Civil War. The Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area supports the local institutions that preserve and share Northeast Mississippi's rich heritage. Begin your discovery of the historic, cultural, natural, scenic, and recreational treasures of our region by visiting the Mississippi Hills National Heritage Area online at mississipphills.org.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.